The Death of Chivalry is the new quest for all players, featuring gods, castles and the epitome of chivalry himself, Sir Owen. This week, Behind the Scenes talks to mods Stu and Osborne about the 6th Age quest. And we take a minute to catch up on how the Battle of Lumbridge is shaping up for old Zammy and Sarah.
This week's update is the Death of Chivalry. It's a free-to-play quest that replaces the Black Knight's Fortress.
An adventure of swords and sorcery, with Sir Owen, his first quest, and the first quest really to kind of deal with the 6th Age.
Sir Owen is a pragmatic temple knight who accompanies the player on their quest.
Sir Owen only gets one quest this time, but it's really the start of something big. This is the first quest in the quest line, and you'll be able to see how that's going to branch out in the future by the time you finish Death of Chivalry. Following the world wakes, Saradomin is back. And this quest is about Saradomin being back in the world, how he's changing the world, how he's trying to manipulate things, or whether or not you're on board with that or you're against it. And Zamorak's also back, so he plays a part in this quest too.
Like the Ariane and Ozan quests, this is a rework of an existing quest and area. The Black Knight's Fortress quest was originally built in Runescape Classic about 12 years ago, and the Black Knights are the ideal antagonists for Sir Owen. My primary aim was to respect the legacy of the Black Knight's Fortress quest. The new quest hits a lot of the same story beats and follows on from the same themes.
Saradomin has called on you and Sir Owen to infiltrate the Black Knight's fortress because they have a weapon, and that weapon can wipe out Falador. So you're going to dress as the leader of the Black Knights and infiltrate the fortress, while Sir Owen acts as your prisoner, kind of like Chewbacca in the first Star Wars movie.
Decisions you've made in the past will unlock new dialogue options in this quest. So if you've chosen to align with Saradomin at the First World event, then you'll have an option to kneel before him. If you've aligned with Zamorak, then you'll have access to various insults you can throw at him about his new Papa Smurf blue makeover. We've reworked the Black Knight's Fortress as part of this quest, and it looks really awesome.
For me, the Black Knights were always a bit generic. We didn't really get a sense of what they were about, what their philosophy was, what they were trying to achieve. So that was something we really wanted to do with the rework. So you've got tapestries that can tell you a bit more of their history. You can talk to individual knights about what their aims are.
So we've expanded the fortress out to the north with a much larger footprint. It's got these thick, chunky, fortified walls, and we've themed the rooms in there. So it feels like somewhere that the Black Knights can live, work and train.
You can see kind of torture devices and ritual chambers and sacrificial chambers. So there's so much more richness in the Black Knight's Fortress for you to investigate.
As part of this update, we've also reworked all of the regular Black Knights across the world to use the new player black armor.
They're all spikes and studs now, and you can also get you can also see the various ranks of the Black Knights. You can see all the way up to kind of the lieutenants and captains.
The quest has no requirements and it's free to play. We're experimenting with scaling the NPCs during combat in this quest. A problem we often have is that players that are above the level of a novice quest will destroy all the enemies in one hit. It's an experiment and we'll see how it plays out.
You're probably interested in the rewards, and we have the usual chunk of XP with a bigger batch of XP for high-level players. There's also cosmetic gear, some of which is related to Sir Owen. And for me, the biggest and best reward is a little nod to those who've played the original Black Knight's Fortress, those who are a little bit nostalgic for that quest. So look out for that one, see if you can spot it.
There's combat, puzzles, covert ops, beautiful environments to explore, haunting music, a memorable supporting cast, and fresh cabbage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You join me here at the Battle of Lumbridge, where reports indicate an imminent upsurge in activity within the crater. Confirmed eyewitness accounts have cited demons joining the reserves of the Zamorakian forces, and simultaneously a contingent of centaurs on the Saradominist side. Both combatants are said to be powerful melee fighters of considerable tenacity, each with the ability to heal the wounds of friendly troops in the field. In response to this expected increase in hostilities, the quartermasters on both sides look set to open access to more of their stores, allowing the faithful to requisition further pieces of the so-called War Priest hybrid armor set, alongside higher titles and further evidence of the god's favor. Whether or not the fighting is linked to the increased prevalence of node instability, including, it seems, cases in which nodes have been rumored to drop fragments of divine metal, is as yet unconfirmed. What is certain, however, is that the Battle of Lumbridge is only going to get fiercer from this point on. For the Gielinor News at 10, this is Roland O'Reilly.
Mark may have told us a lot about divination the other week, but behind the scenes demands to know more. So next week, more divination.